Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. It's our ultimate Sleep Number event. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, plus special financing. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
So here we are, starting the midweek Howl, the non-paranormal part of the From the Shadows podcast. So turn off now if you came to hear about Bigfoot. Although we have been known to talk about people with big feet. So right, I don't know.
Yes,
sounds like it. We have. That was the name of the girl that you took to the homecoming or prom.
No, I don't know. I was voted biggest feet in my senior class, which I don't know. That's kind of like I was listening to somebody say something about, oh, shoot. They were voted something, and whoever was reading the article was like, this is BS because you either are or you ain't. And it was some high school thing, like they were voted valedictorian, I think, or something like that. And people were, I guess they're trying to figure out how to make the dummies feel smart or something. I don't know, nowadays, because they can't just, what?
Make dummies.
Yeah, you can't just have the smartest cat in the class no more because it makes the people that didn't feel bad about themselves or something. I don't know, man.
I didn't feel bad about myself. So
that's because you were tougher. These kids nowadays aren't tough. You know what I mean? Which goes all the way into so many tentacles of society, right? So we all know every place is struggling for employees and help, right?
Yeah. Yes.
It's kind of a gimme, right? Right. Okay. So there's a dude I follow on Twitter named Grunt Paul, GRUNTPA. Truth be known, he's probably younger than me. But whatever, I follow a lot of young studs who talk like they've been around the world a little bit. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't, I don't know. But he was railing on this cop for arresting this dude that was innocent. But because the guy essentially said, "Why are you arresting me?" multiple times, they charged him with obstruction, which apparently the prosecutor decided to file on him, even though he didn't do anything in the first place. Does that make sense? So you're walking down the street. So it's just this scenario. It's on the video cam. It's on the car cam, right?
All right.
Dude's walking down the sidewalk, minding his own business. Cop rolls up and kind of gets a little shitty with him. Let me see. Not saying where you headed, what are you doing, where are you going, nothing. Let me see your hands. Dude's got a phone in his hand, and he gets kind of crappy a little bit with let me see your hands, and basically takes him and cuffs him up right then. And the guy's going, "Why are you doing this? Where am I, you know what I mean? What am I being accused of? What are you this and what are that?" And the cop was like, "Well, and put him in the fucking cop car, and now he's out there defending himself for obstruction of justice." Well, like where I live right here, citizen's arrest, right? It's you just have to be right, and it's got to be a felony, and you've got to be right. And what they mean by that is, I guess, in the old sense of the term, so you can't citizens arrest somebody for jaywalking.
Yeah,
but if you're in the bank and somebody is robbing it, that's a felony. You can make a citizen's arrest because it meets the felony threshold, and you've got to be right. And what they say, the old case law supporting this, the dude's got to be found guilty. Right?
So really, what is a citizen's arrest?
Well, back in the old days, and they needed to, they didn't have the law around.
Yeah.
So, think of horse and buggy days. and you know, every little nook and cranny didn't have the cops, and some bad actors acted bad, and the citizens could just
So you could, so it
But-
essentially gave you the power as a regular citizen to
make
detain,
arrests for
to
felony.
detain
Yes.
somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
All
what
you
you were
could really
supposed to do
is-
is ride them into town and hand them over to the sheriff.
Yeah,
That's what you're supposed to do.
all you could really do is detain them under the guise that they were
Correct.
committing a
Correct.
felony. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. It's
Okay,
not like
so
you could
anyhow,
do
where was
anything
I going with
else.
this story? So
Oh,
anyway,
the poor guy.
he got into a Twitter debate, if you will. I don't know, can you call Twitter a debate?
No.
Okay. So people, and I understand by reading some of the reviews, some of them were cops that wanted to kind of jump onto him because he was a cop, or because they were cops. And by God, usually when you're talking to a cop about cop stuff, the cops are always right.
Yeah. Okay.
You put down what I'm selling here. So,
yeah.
So,
yeah.
this would have been a great one for the judge to watch, because the judge is got a little better handle on the English language spoken. Okay. Because I'm going to say not all cops are right all the time. Okay. And I wanted to stick up for this dude, Grandpa, but I decided not to because a couple things. I wanted to because I mentioned I said something in a Twitter feed the other day, and some Ukrainian flag waver with a bunch of rainbow stuff. I'm not making that up, and just absolute craziness. Who obviously does not know who I am, right? That's the key element here. When I'm out there on Twitter, they obviously do not know who I am, which I kind of like. But he called me a keyboard commando, which I liked, right? and diminished. He tried to blow my candle out to make his look brighter, and did a terrible job. But I had a bunch of Twitter people stick up for me, right? Because they obviously
know who you are.
No, I don't think. No, none of them know. None of them in the entire feed know who I am.
Oh, they didn't. Oh, because you were under your real name.
Yes, I was under my real name, and
okay,
they know who. They don't know who. You know, there's like 6 people, and when I say know who I know, you know, I'm down to 195 followers. I had 210 the other day, but now I'm down to 195. My 195 followers, I can count on 2 hands how many of them actually been in the same room with me. Let's just put it that way. A couple people know me, you know, have gotten to know me a little bit, but maybe I can think of 5 off the top of my head. But those 5 have all carried a loaded gun into multiple situations with me. Okay. So, but none of them stuck up for me because most of them are just like, Twitter's bullshit, man. Why are you even on there? But they got an account, so whatever. So I thought, well, I'll stick up for this Grandpa because there's a bunch of strangers stuck up for me. But then I didn't have the heart to do it because you're arguing with some dipshit that I don't even know where I'm going with this on this show today. This is not what we were going to talk about.
It wasn't on the list, but yeah,
it was not on the list, huh?
But I know it's interesting because, you know, I always wondered legitimately what a citizen's arrest was.
Okay, so yeah. So anyhow, this cop, and this is what I don't like about cops. And I said this one time I was in an executive level interview post retirement. Okay, where I was being interviewed for an assistant director position over some people with law enforcement power. And I made the comment, well, you've already won. And this girl goes, Gal says, what do you mean by that? I said, well, when you represent the state, when you work for the state or the federal government, you have already won. And what I mean by that is whether it takes you a day or a year, or you can do it yourself, or they'll send 10 guys, you know, you take me out and they'll send 10 MFers over here and burn this place to the ground. Watch the Waco thing if you forget about it. You know what I mean? So as a dude representing the government, whether that's the city police or the county sheriff or a state trooper or federal agent, that person has already essentially won because he has unlimited resources to trespass upon you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm following.
So because of that, you have got to kind of be gentle with these people because you've already won. You've already won. The fact that you're there. So when I seen this cop jacking with this dude walking down the street, he should have said, "Hey, what's going on, man? Are you from around here? Where you live? Where you headed to? We've had a suspicious," because apparently he was there because they had a suspicious call about something. It ended up being another guy, but he could have handled it 1,000 ways different than he did. So to close out my grandpa thing, what I wanted to say is cops are no different than everybody else. You walk in a convenience store and there's only one dude checking out because he's the only guy that showed up for work. You know what I mean? Every industry, you try to get somebody to pour some concrete at your house and your contractor can't get anybody to help him. You try to go in and order something and the factory's backed up because they either shut down for COVID or they can't get enough people to work the line. Cops are the same way, right? So what we're seeing collectively, and I think this is society as a whole, globally, okay, you're only as good as your applicants. And when your applicants suck, your employees are going to suck, whether you're at the police department or this podcast, right? I mean, that's just the way it is.
Listen,
and I think you didn't
even apply. We just recruited you. What are you talking?
And that shows me what a terrible organization this was. Because if you had to rely on me, you're sucking air, buddy. You know what I mean?
Well, it's funny you say that because the town where I, am basically from and deliver mail, that's what we're facing right now. Is there's police officers leaving because they can't hire anybody to give them time off, and they're leaving to go to what I would consider worse situations for even.
Give me an example. What's the worst situation?
Well, towns that you would think like they can't pay as much
to be cops at them jobs.
To be cops there because
I don't understand that.
They just want a day off. They're working 12, 14-hour shifts here in our town, and they're going to like smaller little villages where I know they can't be paying them as much, but they're not working as much. And I think here's what I think the COVID did for most everybody. They realized that working all the time wasn't what it was all cut out to be. You know what I'm saying? There's more to life than just working. And a lot of people, used to take advantage of just, we got you in the job and it's a good paying job, but we're going to abuse you hours wise. I mean,
like
they
the
do
post office.
Yeah, they do it at the post office.
Mm-hmm.
They won't get help because they know there's guys that'll work 10, 12 hours, work till night, till the middle of the night.
And see, that's the problem. Yes, in our father's generation, certainly in our grandfathers and great grandfathers' generation, but those days are slowly coming.
Well, they are. The younger people don't want to do that, and I can't say that I blame them. I mean, if I look back at some of the times I had to work 10, 11 hours, it's like, I tried not to miss anything of my kids, but there's people that just never got to anything of their kids, and so now, of course, I look back and all the stuff I did for my kids, and they don't talk to me. So maybe I should have worked some more. I don't know, but I just feel like I think the thing with COVID, when it stopped a lot of people from going and doing, or working and doing some stuff that they thought was important. They kind of realized quality of life is a little more important because you don't know how much you got. And so I get it, but if you have the ability to work and make enough money for yourself, why would you go to work for somebody else?
Well, I think the other thing has to do with it's one thing to work a lot of hours. It's another thing to make a lot of money, right? So
they don't always go hand in hand, right?
What? Not always.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you have to value your time, and I think, God, this is going off the rails here on me, but if you were raised by a certain generation, you were told if you work hard, you'll have everything you want, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, because if you work hard for $6 an hour, you got half as much as the dude that worked the same amount of hours that made 12. And a third of what the dude that made 18, and a quarter what the guy that made 24. So it's not that you work hard. Work hard at something that makes some freaking money. Right?
Yeah.
And I think what happened is the kids with the best, the cream always rises to the top, right? So those, let's call them kids or young adults that decided to work hard, they have the option to shop around and find the job that's going to make them the most money, right?
Well, the fact is, okay, I don't think it'd be too hard to go and make the equivalent of $10 or $12 an hour on your own, figuring out something to do, whether it's something through content creation, whether going and working for cash under the table, like doing yard work or something.
We don't talk about illegal activity on this here podcast.
I didn't say selling drugs. I'm saying doing yard work.
Just the fact that you're doing it for cash and not reporting it. Your president just made anything over $600 is reportable.
Well, not if you don't do it all at once. Anyway.
Yes, you are correctly. You are correct. I think the equivalent of what that cost, 100%. You're right. You could make it 1,000.
Yeah, you could go. I could go out and make $100 a day doing something. Okay, and you're talking if I can go out and make $100 a day, $100 cash, that'd be the equivalent of making $15 an hour at McDonald's, because by the time they took taxes and Social Security and all the other stuff they take out.
Yeah, but do you get to help somebody like you do it?
Maybe you get to help them more. I don't know. Maybe I'm walking somebody's dog. Maybe I'm doing somebody's, like I said, yard work for them. Maybe I'm going to pick up somebody's grocery. I don't know. But I'm just saying, I think there's different opportunities out there today. And young people especially are like, well, I'm just going to work for myself.
Well, I think they can find them because the internet.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, which leads me to a completely.
Oh boy, where are we going?
We're not going there because it's going to be a Patreon, because I'm going to say some bad stuff. Just remind me to when we do Patreon, bring me back to that, because the internet has cheapened so much of everything, good and bad. Is it not?
Okay. So we're going to do an OnlyFans special for Patreon.
Well, I don't know. It just depends. I don't know. I certainly can go on a riff about that. I've either done it or you know where I'm going with that. Yes, think how easy things are to get now that weren't.
Yeah, exactly.
In the past, right? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, and it just everything's cheaper now. Everything's easier to get, good and bad. So, so back to those jobs. So back to the cops in this town where I live. The Joe Q police officers, right?
Yeah.
They make about as much as you normally said, the guys that stock at night, the supermarket up here. But they don't make them stock at night anymore. They let them stock during the day. So when you walk through the store, there's all these dudes putting stuff on the shelves all the time.
It's pain in
the ass, but you know what? They can't get anybody to work at night.
What? I worked that job and it sucked. It was nice at night, but the worst part is me and my buddy Eric Westfall, and we stocked shelves at night for a place, and I don't know if they have Myers where you're at, but they have Myers here, and it's like a Walmart Supercenter or something. And there was nothing worse than on a Friday night going to work. We have to go into work at 10, and we work 10 to 6, and you'd be about 9 o'clock on a Friday night. We'd stop, grab something to drink on our way out of town to head down there, and you'd see just these carloads of girls rolling into town. They were going to take liquor. Well, they weren't buying liquor, but they were taking, in our town, it was a big thing called lapping. You knew they were going to be lapping or hanging out at the Mad Bull, and me and
lapping. Is it a
lapping was so there's a main street in our town. And
lapping, LAPPI.
Yeah.
So you're doing laps.
Doing laps. And
I thought you were laughing like it was a comedy store or something.
No, laughing. And so that was a big thing to do. And there was
just
nothing worse. Around. Yeah, nothing worse than being a 20, 22, 23-year-old and heading out of town while all the girls were heading into town.
Let me tell you, there's a hell of a lot of shit worse. Let me tell you what's worse. Yeah, you just didn't know it at the time.
Well, okay. In my life, in me and Eric Westfall's life, that was the most important thing.
Uh-huh. In your sheltered childhood.
Yeah. Well, that was also the same summer that I was in an extra in Shawshank Redemption, and they called me to be an extra for the rest of the summer. And I'm like, well, how many days am I going to get to work? And like 30 or 40 or whatever. And I thought, man, I can't quit my job stocking shelves to go do that. And I thought, now I'm like, what a fool. Like I could have been a much bigger part in one of the greatest movies of all time. But instead,
you helped all those customers. You were a helper. You helped all those customers with those green beans and blue light specials or whatever, right?
No, I had the dog food. I had the dog and cat food aisle because you
get big enough to lift the bags.
And then about once a week they'd say, "Hey, go grab the salt pallet. The salt needs the salt or water softener salt."
Yeah, I know what water softener salt. I've got a water softener.
Yeah, so do I. But that needed restacked, and they'd always send me to go get it, and oh gosh, that's terrible. But now I couldn't even. I don't even know if I could lift one bag.
Oh, come on, you can lift a bag, couldn't you?
Oh yeah, I'm just kidding. But I'm just. I'm just. Well, I don't know. I go get salt for the saltwater softener, and I get rust out. So I get 6 bags, and they're 40-pound bags. And I mean, we have a 3-level house, and I got to take them down three little flights of stairs. And it's like
2 at a time, one each arm. What do you do?
Yeah, 2 at a time, one each arm. And I'm just like, gosh, there's got to be an easier way.
Does it make you feel sad that you're a hollow shell of the man you used to be physically?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. Yep, it does. I don't know. I wonder sometimes if it would have been better off just to never be that man that I thought I was. I don't know.
Interesting. This is too deep. We're gonna have to steer it back on the road because I'm looking over the edge and the abyss is below. So yeah, it's right, not working out well for me.
So let's pull you back off the edge.
Bigfoot in Afghanistan. That wasn't Bigfoot. He was a big red monster.
It was a giant. It was a giant of Kandahar.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. There was a lot of giants in Afghanistan.
Now, meaning
metaphorically
what?
Speaking.
Metaphorically speaking, because of the drug.
Think about the acts of heroism and the unbridled bravery that our men and women put in battle to quell those native uprisings. So maybe they just saw their own reflection in a pool of water or the moon is what I'm thinking.
So you're not buying anything about this story. Now I've heard this story.
Well, when I seen
a couple times,
I seen Red-Headed Giant, I thought maybe it was Braxton McCoy, but I don't think he was ever in Afghanistan. He was an Iraq giant. But I don't know. I don't want to segue into UFOs at this point in time. But the older I get, the more I realize there's a lot of crazy stuff in this world, right?
Yeah, I believe.
And I'm upstairs a while ago, and I'm watching, them pulling some marble pillars out of the bay in front of Memphis, as in Egypt. The mouth of the Nile, shit that's been underwater for 1,000 years. I read
signs of a civilization, right?
Yeah, and I think it belonged to, that's who they think it belongs to. Do they really know what it belongs to? But there's been a lot of how they do that, man. Because this was like a half, 2 or 3 technical divers, a barge, a big ass crane. How did these Egyptians, and not even flip flops, barefoot Egyptians,
build that stuff and transport?
How did they do it? How did they do it?
Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. It's our ultimate Sleep Number event. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed plus special financing. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
And now a special motorcycle weather report from Progressive.
And today, expect mostly sunny conditions with a high on life that can only come from cruising down the road on two wheels. Kids will wave, dogs will bark, and cyclists in padded shorts will instantly regret their chosen mode of transportation. Whereas you, on the other hand, will look super duper cool. Back to you in the studio.
This has been a special motorcycle weather report from Progressive, where every day's a beautiful day to ride with coverage from America's #1 motorcycle insurer. Get a quote today and see what you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
With one of the best savings rates in America, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Slash to be in your band.
Next up for lead guitar. You're in.
Cool. Yep, even easier than that. And with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is it even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
I don't know. I mean, they there's models that say just they had that many slaves working for them.
Well, that's because we do our mathematical calculations, but maybe they had giants.
Well,
maybe
listen,
they had spaceships. Maybe they have shapeshifting stuff. I don't know.
Well, you got to think. I mean, okay, there's giants in the Bible, and there's people that really believe that everything in the Bible is accurate and that really happened. So what happened to those giants? And they weren't just like guys that were
Ozarks, but
well, so I want to tell you about something I heard today. I interviewed a guy from Australia today. Okay, because in Australia they have their version of the Bigfoot, and it's called Yowie. Okay, it's called a Yowie. Yowie, that's the Aboriginal.
Does he run on the wrong side of the trail when he's chasing you?
No, but this guy Yowie Dan is his name. Okay, and but he was telling me off air about the snakes and spiders they got down there, and he said they have a thing called the brown snake, which is the second deadliest snake in the world.
Yeah. All
right. Yep. And because the first deadliest snake in the world is also in Australia, and I forget what its name was, but it inhabits
Green Mama, Black Mama, something.
No, it's not. It's nothing like that. But he said it's in places where nobody goes, so hardly anybody gets killed by it. But if it bit you, you'd have about 5 minutes to live. So
they got one, and they got one they call a two-step because that's all you got.
And the two-step. All right.
Don't make me Google it up. Go ahead. I'm going to Google it up while you're telling the story.
But he said the brown snake is one that he goes, you probably got 10, 20 minutes. And he goes, so the only way
it wouldn't be a good 10 or 20 minutes.
No. And he said, the only way you're getting out of there is if a helicopter can get to you in the bush. And he goes, and it would be too late. But he said, this brown snake is so aggressive that if you scare it bad enough, it will chase you down. If you see it and you turn and run away, it will come after you to bite you. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding. He goes, no. He goes, he used a colorful Australian language to describe it, but he said it will literally chase you down to bite you. That's how aggressive they are. I've never heard that. Have you ever heard? I mean, a snake.
Yes. Well, I read a lot of capstick books. I read a lot of Victorian era books from Africa, and they talk about, especially in the mating season, the cobras and some of the I guess they're vipers more than cobras, right? I don't know my snake's good enough to tell you that. Yes, they talk about it being very aggressive,
but to chase you down run after.
So this two-step is the mini MANY banded crate, KRAIT. I'm going to skip right down through it and say it is this. I'm quoting here. It says the mini banded crate is among the most venomous land snakes in the world. Oh, I guess they got them too. Most purple-headed. Wow. Anyway,
I'm looking at this. It's the bungarus.
Yeah. Inland taipan. The most venomous snakes of the world is the inland taipan in Australia. The third one is the eastern brown snake, Australia, Papua New Guinea, Indonesia. It's because they don't have hogs.
See, he said it was the second. So he's
third. No, there was the Dubois. He didn't want to give the French their nod. The Dubois sea snake from the Coral Sea. Well, Arufura Sea, the Timor Sea, the Tar River, and the Indian Ocean. Well, anything's going to live in the Tar River and the Indian Ocean is going to be it should be the tetanus snake, because I don't know if you've ever seen freaking water over there. But I'm telling you what, huh?
Isn't that the place with the Indian, when the guy in India, like, taking a dump in the field across the hotel?
That's nothing. I mean, hell, that old boy took us down to Bollywood. I told him he wanted to take us to Bollywood. And wherever he took us, I don't know. But you ever seen the movie 13 Hours in Benghazi? I don't know where it was filmed.
Yeah.
But it looks just like it. So there's a scene when one guy picks up the first guy at the airport, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're driving along, and that's what it looks like. But instead of having an old T-62 tank or jet, it's like a dishwasher or a washing machine. There's like freaking old appliances and shit out there on the beaches. Like they've washed up, you know what I mean? Just people out there carrying stuff around. Serious, man.
So instead of an old tank, there's like somebody got
rusty ass brown water. It's brown as
the microwave.
The Ohio River looks like the Missouri River a lot. In the Mississippi, it's real brown, chocolate milky looking. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's even pre whatever they dumped in last week. I don't know what this fucking cloud's gonna do.
That cleared it up.
Yes. So imagine an ocean with white caps being milky brown like that. That's what it looks like. With appliances and crap. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's a crazy place. I love it. I mean, it's one of the. If I was filthy rich, I don't know. I'd probably go back over there and stay. At the Leela Mumbai again and hang out for a few days.
Just for a few days or what?
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, there's only a few places I'd want to stay a long time if you're filthy rich. Because this is what I'd be worried about. If they found out I was filthy rich, they'd rob me or something.
Yeah, but you're not going to be carrying it all with you, right?
The Sikh people are so kind and gentle. I've never had a bad experience with an Indian over there, a dot Indian, not a Custer Indian, but a dot Indian. But so what would happen is they would come and try to rob me, thinking I was just a rich softy, and then I would have to play Johnny Rambo on them, and I'd feel bad leaving. I don't like to feel bad. So a couple of days, I'll buy some overpriced rugs and leave. And go back to Gandhi's house. Huh?
That seems like a place you should just carry a brown snake with you.
I had a friend of mine that got married late in life, saved up a pile of money, got out of the Army, worked in Washington, D.C., and he, at the tender age of about 40, I'm trying to think because I'm getting so old so fast, at the tender age of about 42 or 43, gets married for the first time and takes her to, I think, Bangalore on like a 10, and he's kind of yuppity, some of these, there's people that are liberal and feel goody naturally. They were raised by people like that. And then you got normal blue collar people that get a little money, and then they think that's the way rich people act, is to do yuppie shit like on a honeymoon, go to Bangalore. I think it was Bangalore. So in the courtship phase of his relationship, it was always trying to outdo, you'd show up to work on Monday and he was, we went and tried this craft beer place, or we rode bicycles over here, or we went to, we flew down to, pick your poison. I don't even know where these kind of people go anymore. Right. And then since he had resources and didn't mind flying, he went overseas with her one time, but he took about a 2.5 week holiday, 2.5 weeks honeymoon, and took her to Bangalore. Now he's waited his entire life to marry this woman, and she has waited her whole life for him. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she's about 40 or 41. So it's like, we got to hurry up and have this baby, right? Because
so they're going to have a baby. Oh my gosh.
So they consummate the relationship. He takes her on a 2-week deal, 2-week thing to Bangalore. She has this baby and drops dead of cancer. So I'm compacting. He was married.
What? Wait a second.
I think he was married 13 months.
So she had cancer before they got married?
No, well, she got married. They hurry up and start having this baby. He takes her on a vacation. What I started to say was just, you take your old lady on a honeymoon to Bangalore for 2 weeks. You're already in trouble. You know what I mean? You got to have these dengue fever. They give you these big ass pills to take over there, like anywhere that's Mosquitoville, right? So they want you to take all this medicine. So yeah, so she's 3 or 4 months, 5 months, 6 months pregnant, and she's got these headaches. And they said, well, it's natural, She has this baby, and oh, by the way, we just did a scan on your brain. You got a tumor, and we can't do anything about it. She's gone. So, that was a bad story. I know. It kind of went down the road a bad way, but that's what I'm saying. I started just condensing and say, dude, a guy I worked with brought his old lady over there on a honeymoon, and she freaking died within a year. But then there were so many details for the story. I was going to
say there's so much more, and I hate to laugh. I'm laughing at the story.
Don't feel bad for him. He's got a new girl, because apparently it's easy if you're a widower. You're on a different plane than divorcees. I know you were a divorcee on the market, but if you're a widower with a brand new baby, it's better than a puppy. Especially when you're a government employee and your ex had a whole bunch of life insurance.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. That's a story. I mean, that's a real story to tell somebody. Like, I mean, you're gonna get some feelings from somebody. They're gonna feel bad for you. They're gonna feel some empathy.
Well, he's not a player. I don't think he would play for the empathy.
No. I'm just saying. Naturally, there's gonna be people that feel bad for you, and some people, that helps them be attracted to you because of the story of the.
I know. I tell people I got to talk on this microphone, and they feel bad for me. That's my play.
God. Oh God. Oh jeez.
So finish the Australian story, because I got an Australian story to tell too.
Well, then he went on to tell me about these spiders they got over there, and I forget what they're called, but they like dig
big
holes.
Big spider shit. No,
they're like something with funnels. Okay. And they said they'll dig holes, and the holes will be covered with spider webs. And he's like, you can't go out there and mess with them. And I'm thinking, well, I wouldn't mess with spider webs anyway. But he said it's so bad during mating season for those spiders, you can't even walk around out in the wild or wherever they are, because the males are just going nuts running around, these male spiders looking for females. And he said they'll just bite you, and you don't have much time to get the anti venom for those either. And I'm like, I go, you're not selling Australia to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but they kill all that shit in town where everybody goes, right?
It doesn't sound like it. I mean, it sounds like
I don't know.
I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, I would.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
This stuff just sounds crazy. Right here, the Sydney funnel web spider. That's what it's called.
All they need to do is get Burlington. Who's the railway in
Norfolk Southern?
And get Norfolk Southern, put a train down there, and they'll kill all that shit.
Not really. I mean, can you imagine a Sydney funnel web spider getting in some of that stuff? Might make it giant, be like Godzilla.
I don't know. Bring me back to the pigs in Afghanistan. Bring me back to pigs in Afghanistan after I tell you this Australian story. Okay, so I worked with a dude, retired command sergeant major. He was first Ranger Battalion command sergeant major, and tough as nails. Joined the Army in 67, I believe, maybe 68. Cut his teeth in the old Lurk patrols. Went to Panama. When he just done a lot of stuff, right? And I'm having a heart to heart to him one time, and with him, and I asked him I don't even know if I asked him how scared he was. What's the scariest you ever been? Something. He says they're on a NATO exercise down in Australia, and they're walking around with Miles gear. You know what Miles gear is? You listeners on Miles gear. It's the old. They had a laser, so you had on your pack, on your body, you had basically a reflector, and everybody had laser things on the end of their guns. So they were playing like a force on force. So if I shot you with my laser gun, it was like laser tag for grown-ups, right?
Yeah.
Okay. He says they're walking on this thing, and they're out there, and he's got an Australian guy with him. I don't know if the Royal Marines or whatever they got out there. I'm not for sure. Okay. He says they get to this river crossing, and they're going to cross. And all of a sudden, the Australian dude stops and whoa, 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 whoa. And from out of nowhere, a couple of these guys had real guns. They pull out these real guns, and they're locking and loading these FNFALs or whatever they had, 308s. And the sergeant major's like, whoa, 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 what the hell, live ammo with this? And he said, yeah, one of us is going to go across and cover the rest of us. I'm going to cover him crossing, and he's going to cover me when I bring you guys across. Wading this kind of a creek, big creek, small river. And this sergeant major's like, what the hell? And he said, it's the saltwater crocs.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And they said, huh? And they said, yeah, because these guys were from Fort Benning. They thought, well, just an alligator or something, maybe. He said, no, these sumbitches will kill you so quick. And I think part of it is like the polar bear. The reason why the polar bear is the most dangerous bear in the world, he's not necessarily the biggest, because they don't get exposed to humans, so they don't really know what you are. To them, you're just, you could be another bear, for Christ's sake. They don't have exposure to humans. So I think these saltwater crocs out there in the middle of nowhere, there hadn't been enough of them killed.
Yeah, you're in the water, you're a meal.
Yes, that's all you are to them. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another thing, saltwater crocs.
Yes.
So the saltwater crocs, if they had hogs in Afghanistan.
Okay, so in 2001, 2002, I worked with a dude, let's just call his name Rex, and he was a demo guy. I was telling my son about him the other day. He was just a very accomplished underwater. He was a BUDS instructor. He was an old-fashioned demo guy. I think he might have been the end of the Vietnam era. Okay, so he was telling about all the money the State Department give these grants out to demine all these old war zones. Like they give like $40 million a year to Croatia and $100 million a year to Laos and Cambodia. And he said, we give tens of millions of dollars to Afghanistan prior to 9/11. We're probably not going to give them anything now. And of course, then we went in there and tore the shit out of the place for 20 years and give them everything. But this was in the infancy stages, right? So I said, the thing to do is, maybe we should just introduce hogs to them. He said, huh? I said, these wild pigs that we got, because they were starting to inch up into southern Missouri. I said, I've been to Texas and Louisiana and hog hunting, and they're just everywhere. People hate them, and they can't, once they're introduced, because they root up everything.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, we could get a grant to just dump all these hogs over here, and they would root up the country. The Muslims would not eat them because they're pork, so they would just reproduce and reproduce and reproduce, and they would eventually root all the mines out, and either die or live or die by the power of their snout.
Can you imagine one of those hogs rooting around and hitting a mine?
But you know what I think, though? I think they would probably wisen up to that.
Well, yeah.
I think they would sniff them out because,
goes back to
they
the
truffle
polar
hunt
bear
over
and
the
it goes back to the polar bear and the saltwater croc.
Because I think eventually they would say, every time I smell this Simtex or RDX or something or whatever, I don't even know what they have at landmines, right? Every time I smell this smell, my cousin gets blown up.
Yeah, then it's all
So they would quit
bacon.
They would quit rooting them out. That's why the young rattlesnakes don't rattle in Texas anymore.
Why? Because when people are killing them,
the hogs find them. So
the
rattlesnakes they're the whole ecology, or what would you call that? Biology, the whole feng shui of snakes, but rattlesnakes are changing down there because if they rattle, the hogs are impervious to snake bites, So
they are? I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they don't
can't
know
bite
if
through
it's
their skin or something or what.
They got tough skin and something in their fat counteracts. It's like an anti-venom. And the only thing they can think of is for a million years or whatever, the snakes, the hogs that got bit survived and the ones that didn't died. So just through evolution, right?
So in theory, I could go to Australia because I've eaten enough bacon and have enough fat. I may be able to survive a brown snake bite.
Maybe, I don't know. But so if the little rattlesnakes know, if they rattle, the hog will find them. The hog searches them out and eats them.
That's amazing.
I know. I've been out west. You can't see the few people that's ever seen in my office. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5 antelope in my office and 2 in the other room. And you can go out there where private property is, especially coal property, mine property you can't hunt on, and there's 1,000 antelopes. And then, like, if you got a GPS, it'll tell you what's public land and what's private land. And there's no fence, right? But this GPS is plus or minus 3 feet accuracy or whatever. And right there'll be an invisible line, and there'll be no antelope for 2 miles. And you look at your GPS, that's because it's public hunting's allowed on there. And I don't know if they know that, hey, I get over there, and every time we go over there, old Tom gets shot in the head or something. I don't know. I'm just telling you, the wild kingdom, up until the last 100 years, and the humans, the wild kingdom was wild, and shit happened to dumb animals.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of the From the Shadows podcast. Until next time, never shy away from the darkness or what may be lurking in the shadows. We are out.
Science proves quality sleep is vital to your mental, emotional, and physical health. The Sleep Number 360 smart bed senses your movements and automatically adjusts to help keep you both effortlessly comfortable. And it's temperature balancing, so you stay cool. So you're at your best for yourself and those you care about most. Life-changing sleep, only from Sleep Number. It's our ultimate Sleep Number event. Save 50% on the Sleep Number 360 limited edition smart bed, plus special financing. Ends Monday. To learn more, go to sleepnumber.com. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.